Oh, he sounds so cute eating. Before we begin, I'd just like to give a huge shout out to Russell. Thank you for coming back to my Patreon. Russell, I've seen your name pop up every now and then. So I'm really glad that you decided to come back. And you know what, guys? If you're a patron, it's really up to your discretion if you decide to cut off the support for now while you deal with whatever you're handling with. There is no trouble with that. And at the same time, I just want, before you consider supporting me, you have to be able to support yourselves. So, this is also a friendly reminder to take care of yourselves. Christmas time and upcoming New Year's, make it a resolution to take care of yourselves. Anyway, let's get back to the show because this is part of the specials. It was on his website. Hello, Merry Christmas. I don't need you looking at me like that. I'm kind of weak against muscles and eyes, and we could use some chest hair, by the way. We could use some chest hair. Are you feeling me, ladies? We can use some chest hair. I'm your Santa tonight, and I bring you a special gift. Oh, fucking hell! This is really good animation. This is basically just an animation reel, but holy sh! Oh god! Oh god! I thought it was my turn. What the hell? Why am I still the top? I'm a bottom. Hello guys! TheCaliMack here. Welcome back to Sweet Pool. We're gonna continue where we left off. Yes, I wanna load the save file and it still freaks me out. Unsurprisingly, he was still exhausted. His body felt like lead as he left the apartment. He wasn't in the ideal condition to attend a second day of school, but nor did he really have a choice. By the way, guys, if you missed what happened earlier, there was just this one hint that something is wrong with this kid. Our main protag is probably, I don't know, pregnant with a demon baby? When he arrived at the train station, the platform was full of students and morning rush commuters. The intercom announced the arrival of the train, and when it came to a stop, Yuji stepped aboard. Or rather, was herded aboard by the crowd. Moments later, the train departed, now clearly over capacity. Once again, like yesterday, Yuji found himself frankly appalled by the number of passengers. They were packed in like sardines, to the point that he could smell all kinds of different hair products and perfumes mixing together. To make matters worse, their combined body heat had turned the inside of the car into a sauna. God, I remember traveling like that all the time back when I was still studying in university, because I wasn't allowed to dorm, so there was always this back and forth on the train, and it was a nightmare. Philippine MRT? Fucking shit. Anxiety coiled in his chest like a snake. Try as he might to endure it, his vision was fading rapidly. A cold sweat broke out over his entire body. On top of all that, he suddenly felt like he was losing his balance. As his temperature plummeted, he began to lose feeling in his extremities. He could barely tell whether his eyes were open or closed. The next thing he knew, his legs gave out. Just then, the train hit a sharp curve, shaking the car and sending him reeling backwards. All of a sudden, someone grabbed his arm and yanked him up. The momentum brought him back to his feet. His legs were too weak to support his own weight, but someone was holding him steady. He was practically leaning against them, but as awkward as he felt, he couldn't thank them or apologize. The words wouldn't come. It was taking all he had just to keep from passing out. But the stranger seemed to understand, because they held firm to Yuji. Yuji, without complaint. It's taking me a while to get to that. After a few shallow breaths, he closed his eyes, because Senpai was there. He could feel faintly, Senpai! The other person, Senpai's heartbeat. I'm just gonna call it now, this is a Senpai. As he focused on its steady rhythm, he felt himself begin to calm down. It was strange. The train was still as miserable as ever, but his anxiety was actually starting to fade. The heartbeat pulsing behind his eyelids, the fingers digging firmly into his arm. He could almost delude himself into thinking this stranger was being affectionate. Gradually, the chaos of the reality began to fade, leaving only gentle darkness behind. It felt like he was wrapped in a big, muscly blanket, drifting off, though to where he could not say. He felt at peace, Just then, the intercom came on, pulling him back from the brink of unconsciousness. The train slowed to a stop, the doors opened, and disgorged a flood of passengers. His head still spinning. Yuji left the crowd, let the crowd herd him onto the platform. His legs moved on autopilot, but until reality set back in. Whoever it was that had held him up on the train, they were lost to the crowd now. He found himself a little disappointed. He'd meant to thank them. As he moved with the crowd, he thought back onto what had just happened. Unfortunately, in his entire current state, his memories were all a blur. Maybe he'd simply managed to imagine the whole thing. All he could remember for sure was a pulse. A warm, steady pulse. It replayed in his mind, overlapping with his own. Why had he found it so soothing? Clinging to that faint trace of warmth, Yuji passed through the turnstiles and headed to the academy. The Christian academy where people die! Yes. The Christian academy. By the time he arrived at school, Yuji was feeling a lot better, save for the slight sluggishness of sleep deprivation. His morning classes ended without incident, and then the lunch bell rang. Kamiya, his homeroom teacher, had asked him to stop by the staff office, so Yuji did just that. There, he was given a brief rundown of everything he had missed while he was out sick. Mostly, they talked about what had been covered in class, as well as the major school events that had taken place. The meeting ended with some words of encouragement. Kamiya was the school's chemistry teacher, a kind and caring man. Once their conversations had come to an end, Yuji thanked him and left the office. Lunch break wasn't quite over yet, so he decided to cut through the courtyard and head for the school store. The store was located in the old school building, which was connected to the main building via hallways of each floor. Sorry guys, was this annoying to you? Cutting through the courtyard, this is a slow burn. This is one of those visual novels that are slow burn. Due to its age, the old building was now used only for the school store, the chemistry lab, the sewing studio, and a few club rooms. Stepping out onto the red brick, fucking hell, this is what I hate about Christians. I mean, well, not Christians, more like the church. Tax-free so they can splurge on the buildings to look goddamn nice while, keeping it VIP exclusive to God's initiates. Excuse me, Linda? The courtyard was located between the two buildings. With an abundance of well-maintained greenery as well as several benches, it was a popular lunch spot, and today was no exception. Some girls were occupying their usual bench under the shade of the trees, their cheerful voices bouncing off the walls. Just as he was about to enter the old building, Yuji nearly bumped into someone on their way out. What the?
すみません。
Right as the apology left his lips, he heard a slurping sound and looked up. Oh great. It was Okinaga Zenya. He was wearing a bright green shirt and a baseball cap. Neither was part of the school-mandated uniform. The shirt alone would have been enough to send him home for the day. If he could flout the rules this egregiously and get away with it, then there was no doubt he was getting special treatment. Supposedly his father was a Yakuza, and former boss at that. There were all kinds of rumors floating around about him. Some said he was 2 meters tall, and if you got on his bad side, he would make you disappear. Obviously, the rumors were exaggerated, but still, the fact that was that the school had chosen to turn a blind eye to Zenya's behavior. He was holding a cup to his mouth with one hand. His long blonde hair fell past his shoulders. He wore sandals and an eye patch over his right eye. And of course, there was that garish green shirt. A pungent odor stung Yuji's nostrils. It wasn't cologne, it smelled more like alcohol. Was Zenya drinking in the middle of the day? Regardless, Yuji had no way of knowing what might set Zenya off, so he decided to leave before things got worse. I can't get it. I can't get it. Sorry, I'm thinking Valley Girl for him. Oh shit. Okay. Do I use instinct? Reason. Instinct, reason. I'll use reasoning. Curious as he was about what Zenya meant, he decided not to turn back. But just as Yuji was about to walk away, Zenya grabbed his arm. Seriously, this is giving me Jojo vibes. I can't do that. The blonde man pulled him close, grinning widely. What?
さ、君、
You're the kid.
ぶっ倒れた子でしょ？始業式でバターンってさ、すごい音立てて。あん時さ、痛そうだったよね。
Hold on, something's up. Sorry guys, I just needed to adjust some things.
画面打ってなかった？花？
It's just that this weird droning for his background music, it's just overpowering the dialogue.
ああ、痛いって言えばさ、ね、出てこなくってさ。
Without pausing to gauge Yoji's reactions, Xenia kept
缶の
talking.
底にひっついたプルプルがね。
The label on the can read, with real coconut gel. For a moment, Xenia's pale fingers resembled the coils of a snake wrapped around its prey.
ちょっとお願いなんだけど。
Yoji tried to wrench his arm free, but it was like Xenia's hand was glued to his
お
skin.
願いがあるんだけど。
He repeated his words in the same vapid tone, and Yuji turned to look at him. He was grinning from ear to ear, but the light in his eye was
持って
cold.
ないかな？
Xenia lowered the can from his mouth and stuck out his tongue. Oh my god, no! No! Oh! Free! I'm sorry, this is just a little bit excessive. I kind of figured, like, if you're gonna dive your tongue into aluminum cans, that's gonna wet with saliva and blood. G could make out over a dozen tiny cuts. I'm not comfortable with that, like, especially at the vulnerable part like the tongue.
頑張ったんだけどね。全然取れないの。鉄の味ばっかりするんだよね。
Oh my god, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel. You could easily get... Look, if you're trying to get something, maybe you could use a toothpick or a stick or... I wouldn't recommend your finger. Flicking his tongue in and out, Yuji guffawed and shrugged Xenia's guffawed and shrugged his shoulders. Yuji could only stare as he struggled to process what he was
だ
seeing.
からさ、ねえ、持ってないかな？
I'm not comfortable with this. I'm just saying, I'm not comfortable with this. After a beat, Xenia opened his mouth cartoonishly
絆創
wide.
膏、ちょうだい。
Oh, okay, just a band-aid. But I don't think you put band-aids on your tongue. At worst, you get but they're tiny cuts, so maybe they'll heal on their own, but at the same time, it fucking hurts just looking at it. There was no point wasting another second here. Yuji summoned all of his strength and yanked his arm away, this time successfully. But Xenia simply lifted the can back to his lips, his eyes on Yuji. Was he going to wriggle his tongue around in there again? The image made his skin crawl. As he walked past Xenia, he heard a sound, but it wasn't slurping. It was airy and stiff, like teeth clanking together. He didn't know what could be making that sound, and he had no intention of finding out. Instead, he walked straight into the old school building. As he passed the rows of unused shoe lockers, he heaved... This game doesn't hold back on the blood. He heaved a sigh of relief. He'd never expected Xenia to mess with him like that. The image of the bloody tongue was burned into his brain. And that strange alcoholic smell. Bile rose in the back of his throat. He needed to just forget it. The guy wasn't normal. Shaking the memory from his head, Yuji headed to the store. Okay, that made me... I didn't expect that to actually get me uncomfortable. That was nuts. School was over for the day. Following the afternoon assembly, the classroom seemed to have a collective sigh of relief.
Yuji, 帰ろうぜ。
Oh, best boy. How are you, best boy? Makoto walked over to Yuji's desk, his book bag already over
今
his
日の
shoulder.
約束忘れてないよな。飯食いに行こうってやつ。忘れてないよ。じゃあ
Ah.
早く行こうぜ。
Makoto grinned, practically bouncing on his heels. Excuse me. As Yoji said about packing away his textbooks and pencils, Makoto gave him a puzzled look.
幼児って教科書とかいちいち持って帰ってんの？
持って帰ってる。
なんで？
予習と復習するから。
予習と復習？なんそれすげえ楽ない？俺一回もやったことないんだけど。
His eyes widened in mock
休ん
disbelief.
でたから。
そっか。そうだよな。でもすげえな。俺も見習わないとダメだな。とか言ってやらない。
Makoto. Makoto shrugged his shoulders. Then I'm a sucker for the best friend, alright? I'm a sucker for the best friend. Okay, then an instant later his playful smile darkened. He was looking over Yoji's shoulder. Sakiyama. At the sound of his name, Yoji turned and frowned when he saw who was standing there. It's tall, blonde, and handsome. You know you're on duty, right? Tetsuo's voice was deep and gruff in Yoji's ears. Had his voice always been like that? It was a tense moment, but all Yoji felt was surprise. It felt like he was hearing Tetsuo's voice for the first time, even though that couldn't be true. Duty? Cleaning duty, as if yesterday didn't finally hit him, and he remembered that he was on cleaning duty this week. After being out sick for so long, he'd forgotten many of the little details of school life that most students took for granted. And now he inadvertently neglected his duties. Guilt washed over him and he cursed himself for not being more careful. He knew it wasn't his fault he'd been sick, but every time something like this happened, it only served to widen the gap between him and everyone else. So why had Tetsuo gone to the trouble of reminding him? After a moment of thought, it dawned on him. Cleaning duties were always assigned in alphabetical order. Sakiyama Yoji, Shironuma Tetsuo. They were on cleaning duty together.
そっか。幼児、今週の当番だったのか。じゃあ俺、適当に待ってるわ。
His chipper mood suddenly gone, Makoto turned and stalked out of the classroom. Yoji was left standing there with Tetsuo. The situation was exceedingly awkward. We're on trash duty. Look, if this was made by a Barry or one of our favorite smutty yaoi artists, they would be on the desk. But no, this is a serious one, and I'm kind of bothered by some of the direction this is going with its details. Like, you don't just show blood like that unless there's something that you're trying to insinuate. In which case, I'm going to enjoy myself. Without another word, Tetsuo headed to the garbage bins in the corner of the classroom. Reluctantly... Oh, sorry. My mic jerked. I was terrified for myself. Yuji followed after him. The others... Damn it! Sorry, guys. That freaked me out. The mic keeps moving. I think it's lost whatever security it has. Hopefully it stays steady. The other students on cleaning duty were dusting and mopping with looks on their faces that said they'd rather be doing literally anything else. Some of them had given up entirely and were now chatting instead. Tetsuo stopped in front of the bins, then leaned forward slightly to scan the contents. The trash was sorted in two categories: burnables and non-burnables. Trash duty involved sifting through the garbage to ensure that everything was sorted correctly. Supposedly, the school had received complaints from the city for not keeping its trash separated, and ever since they'd been cracking down. It was the end of the day and the cans were nearly overflowing. Tetsuo was checking the non-burnables, so Yoji started on the burnables bin. For the most part, everything seemed to be sorted correctly, save for the occasional plastic bag that he had to untie and check. The only sound between them was that of rustling plastic. They had nothing to say to each other. Meanwhile, cheerful voices trickled into the room through the open doors and windows. That's comforting. Who did this? You make it sound like, who threw this garbage? Who did not recycle? Out of nowhere, Tetsuo's low growl broke the silence. Yuji looked up to find him holding a plastic bag in one hand. Inside was a half-eaten to-go meal. The moment he realized who it belonged to, he found himself wishing he could sink through the floor. It was his. He'd brought the to-go meal for lunch but had tossed it after only a few bites. He must not have been paying attention to which bin he was using. He turned away. Beside him, he heard a thud as Tetsuo tossed the to-go meal back into the trash. Flooded with fresh guilt, Yuji went back to work. Once they had finished looking through the garbage, they pulled out... I'm not sure, is there something with the background? It's kinda like there's streaks of light that are not behaving like light. They pulled out the trash bags and tied them up. Their last task was to take the 2 bags out to the dumpsters, man, the gym, sorry. Yuji had just finished tying up the burnable garbage when suddenly... Here we go, he felt something cold touch the back of his neck. Rationality. At the same time, he smelled something faintly sweet, but just as he was about to turn his head to look, he thought better of it. Tetsuo was standing right behind him. Did Tetsuo just touch him? No way, why would he do that? Unnerved, Yuji quickly left the classroom. At the sound of his name, Yuji looked back to find Makoto standing with a group of students near the door. As they made eye contact, Makoto walked up to him. As he spoke, Makoto shot a glance in Tetsuo's direction. He was busy tying up the non-burnable garbage. I like how he senses that we're so unnerved. He's best boy. He's best husband. What do you mean? Makoto quickly put on his usual cheerful smile. Securing a firm hold on his garbage bag, Yuji left the classroom with Makoto. Together, they walked out of the front entrance and headed for the gym. Makoto closed his eyes, enjoying the slight chill of late afternoon. Meanwhile, Yuji heaved a breath, relieved to have left Tetsuo behind. The 2 of them walked along the walls of the gym until they arrived at the back where 2 large metal dumpsters came into view. Like the garbage cans, the dumpsters were also split into burnables and non-burnables. Yuji opened the one marked for burnables and pushed his trash bag inside. Sweet! Trash duty is donezo! I sound dark. I don't think I fit the best friend archetype. Makoto stretched his arms wide as if the effort had all been his.
早いとこ帰ろうぜ。俺もう腹減りすぎて死にそう。
教室に寄ってカバン取ってくる。
了解。
了解。了解。Makoto laced his fingers behind his head and they headed back the way they'd come.
さあ、なんつうか、ヨジ、なんか怒ってるように見えたけど。
別に。
そっか、ならいいんだけどさ。
His encounter with Tetsuo, it's just nothing, no big deal. But there was one thing that lingered on his mind. That faint, sweet scent. The smell was familiar, and yet he couldn't place it, no matter how hard he tried. Before he knew it, they were back at the entrance.
待ってるから、カバン取ってこいよ。今日はあれ食うぞ。オメガミートバーガー。
Omega Burger. Oh my god, that's cute. Makoto leaned against the door, mouth watering. Yuji had seen commercials of the Omega Burger before. The thing was absolutely enormous.
ヨジも食えよ。オメガミートバーガー。
Omega Meat Burger. He's so cute. I don't know
それは
why.
無理かな。
He's just following the advertisement. Nah, I couldn't eat that. After one last exchange, Yoji headed to the classroom to retrieve his book bag. When he arrived, Tetsuo was nowhere to be found. Cleanup was over, and a few students were standing around chatting. Feeling a tiny glimmer of relief, Yoji grabbed his bag and headed back to the shoe lockers where Makoto was waiting. After changing into their outdoor shoes, the 2 left the school. As they headed to the school gates, Yuji noticed a car parked just outside. It was the same black car from yesterday. A certain Okinaga Zenya sprang to mind. The driver was standing next to the car.
いつも。なんつうか、すげえよな。
He's sarcastic. Makoto scowled, his tone dripping with sarcasm. As they drew near to the gates, the man's features became clear. Daddy! Sorry. I'm not sorry. It's a daddy. It's a daddy. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if that recorded right. Give me a minute, guys. I'm just gonna save this. Hey guys, I just edited something on Ops. I just wanted to test it if it was working. No, I don't want to quit. He looks somewhere to be in his 30s. He's definitely daddy. He was wearing a suit with no tie and for some reason a single leather glove on his left hand. With his pointed chin, dark sunglasses, and the raised scars all over his face, the man gave off a particular aura. You could tell he wasn't a regular guy. He's not like regular guys. Read with Cindy has ruined me. Great, thanks. The man took out a pack of cigarettes, put one between his lips, and lit it with a metal lighter. A curl of tobacco smoke rose into the sky as he exhaled a wispy cloud. The other students heading home gave him and his car a wide berth, but he didn't seem to notice.
とっとと行こうぜ。また沖永が来て暴れ出すかもしれないしな。
Sounds like a good idea. We should dial Okinaga. Makoto had a disgusted look on his face. He must have been thinking about what happened yesterday. The driver was even more intimidating up close, and yet there was something peculiar about the way he stood there, like a loyal soldier who would never leave his post. The man glanced in their direction. Behind the sunglasses, his piercing gaze was reminiscent of a bird of prey. Makoto's voice was barely a whisper. Once they made it past him, the tension eased.
さあ、来るぞ
Excuse me. As if to shake off any lingering fear, Makoto raised his hands over his head, grinning. Smiling slightly at this childlike display, Yoji followed Makoto to the train station. The station square was overflowing with housewives on errands and students heading home for the day. Walking down the main street beneath the setting sun, they soon arrived at Makoto's favorite burger joint. The moment they stepped inside, they were engulfed by the din of the restaurant. Actually, hold up. At this time of day, the customers were predominantly students and a long line had formed at the register. After ordering their food... Hold up. That was odd. Yoji and Makoto waited for their numbers to be called and grabbed something.
よっと
Here we are! Makoto's tray was crammed full of food. I'm probably Makoto in this scenario. I'm always hungry like this. Makoto's tray was crammed full of food. Just listening to him place his order had been hard on Yuji. It had felt like he was the one making the cashier gape in disbelief. For himself, he'd simply ordered an iced coffee. The greasy smell filling the restaurant had killed any appetite he might have had.
なんだよ、それだけ
Makoto's lips curled into an exaggerated frown, his eyes on Yuji's coffee.
腹減ってないし。
食える食える。一個やろうか
Want one of mine? This is the kind of bro you need!
いいよ。
Yuji shook his head and Makoto grinned like he'd seen it coming.
やらないよ
Good, cause you ain't getting none. Yuji resisted the urge to roll his eyes. Goofy though they were, he sometimes felt that Makoto's antics were the sole bright spot in his otherwise trying life at school. Best boy! Makoto's unpretentious attitude enabled him to establish a comfortable rapport with just about anyone. Yuji suspected it was this part of his personality that drew people to him.
やっぱうまい
Makoto took another bite, chewing with gusto. He had only just unwrapped that burger, yet within moments he had devoured it and yup, I'm Makoto! To Makoto, any normal-sized hamburger was practically bite-sized. One by one, he snapped up the smaller burgers. Evidently, he was saving the Omega Burger for last. This was far from the first time Yuji had seen Makoto eat, and yet he couldn't help but wonder how all that food fit inside Makoto's slender frame. Oh, he sounds so cute eating. Makoto fell silent, concentrating on his meal, and Yuji knew that anything he said at this point would receive only a non-committal grunt in reply. But he didn't mind. Confess your love! If anything, he appreciated Makoto's silence. It felt accepting. Sipping on his coffee, he looked out the window. I like how that effect of the sky just came in. The pane of glass stretched from the floor to the ceiling. Beyond it, dozens of people hurried past on their way home. As he watched their comings and goings absently, he heard the faint sound of bells. It was Yuyake Koyake, the golden sunset, the melody that played at precisely 5 p.m. each day. Makoto suddenly looked up from his burger.
そういえばさ、沖永って親父がこっち系だって知ってた
Taking a sip of cola, he traced a finger meaningfully down his cheek. The implication was clear. Yakuza, gangster.
聞いた。 誠から。
あれ俺からそうだっけ？いろんなやつとその話をしたから、もう誰が誰だか。
I really like the voice actors. Japanese voice actors, a whole other level. Makoto is Yuji's primary source for any rumors going around at school. Having a lot of friends meant he got to hear a lot of
まあ
gossip.
いいや。だからってさ、運転手付きの車でお迎えとか、マジありえねえよな。あの運転手、あれも絶対やばいぜ。顔に傷とかあるしさ、雰囲気が普通じゃねえもん。銃とか持ってんじゃねえかな。
Yep, he's packing heat. A lot of heat.
ああ。
切れたら追っかけてきたりして、バーンってさ。
Sometimes I wonder how am I gonna survive in Japan if I can barely catch up with anyone speaking Japanese. Makoto curled his fingers into the shape of a gun and made a firing motion at Yuji. The look in his eyes suggested he was anticipating a laugh, but Yuji simply shrugged.
反応薄。
Oh. He pouted for a moment before stuffing his half-eaten burger into his mouth. Then, as he finally picked up the Omega burger, his expression suddenly hardened.
なんで急に沖永のことを思い出したかっつうとさ、さっき流れてただろ？夕焼け小焼け。
ああ。
あれさ、噂があんだよ。沖永と夕焼け小焼け。知ってる？
知ってる？Oh, no.
噂
Yuji realized that the melody had faded away. Wiping the crumbs from his mouth with his thumb, Makoto looked at him with an exaggerated solemnity.
さっき鳴った鐘。あれって5時になったってことだろ？そうするとさ、どういうわけだか決まって沖永前夜の姿が見えなくなるらしい。
見えなくなる？
Disappears? Makoto took another bite of his burger and smirked.
つまりさ、ついさっきまでそこで騒いでたのに、5時になるとピタッといなくなるらしいんだよ。
見たのか？
いや、俺は見てないけど、クラスの奴らが話しててさ、毎日5時きっかりに消えるとか言って、みんな幽霊みたいだって気味悪がってた。そうじゃなくてもなんか変じゃんあいつ。
While Yuji was inclined to agree on that point, the rumor itself was far from
偶
convincing.
然じゃないのか？トイレに行ってたとか、帰ってただけとか。
いやいやいや、噂はまだあるんだぜ。
Makoto leaned in.
5時の鐘が鳴った時にさ、沖永がふらふら歩いてるのを見たってやつがいるんだよ。で、気になってそいつ後をつけてったんだってさ。そしたら今は使われていない教室にたどり着いてさ、どうなったと思う？
さあ。
Makoto's tone was melodramatic, a smile playing at his
鍵
lips.
がかかってるはずの教室から苦しそうなうめき声が聞こえてきたらしいんだよ。そいつがビビって帰ろうとしたら、今度は首に何か冷たいものが当たった。
Oh, hell no! No, no! Cold back of
それ
neck?
を恐る振り向いてみると、なんとそこには血まみれの手が。
I really have no idea what to say at this moment. Oh my god. You know what? Eye for an eye. Let's stick with blue.
あったのか？
いや
Nah, Makoto smiled deepened into a mischievous grin.
まさか信じたの？今のちょっと迫真の演技だった？
Makoto, I will punch you. Makoto was visibly giddy about this, so Yuji made a show of considering it.
まあ、それなりに。
Instantly, Makoto's head dropped.
なんだよそれ。すげえがっかりした。
I'm not giving you the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm not giving you an Emmy.
それより、 その話と沖永と何か関係があるのか？
Oh my god, I just found this isn't run on rand base, so everything's different, but I just realized spacebar is how you hide the HUD. I could have nah. Anyway, yeah. Makoto smiled sheepishly, scratching his head.
いや、まあ、それが沖永の消える時間と重なってたっていうな。
Just like that, the story lost all credibility.
まあ、今のはともかくさ、5時の鐘とともに、あいつがうめきながら震えてるとこを見たとか、そういう目撃談は本当にあるらしいぜ。
I don't know. It's either something. It could be something conditioned. I mean, you could condition someone to react a certain way when they receive a certain stimuli, especially if one part pattern specifically, like the yuyake koyake.
へえ。
何にせよ、関わり合いにならないのが一番だよな。
この間話しかけられたけどな。
マジで？
Makoto's eyes looked like they were about to pop out of their sockets.
嘘？なんで？
さあ、始業式で倒れたことを覚えてたみたいだけど。
記憶力あるんだ、あいつ。意外だな。
Makoto nodded thoughtfully to himself, like he just learned some random animal fact.
やだ。ほんと気味悪いわ、あいつ。気味悪いっていや、白沼も不気味だけどな。
Shironuma? Yeah, definitely. Shironuma, definitely. Shironuma Tetsuo. The memory of his icy gaze flashed through Yoji's mind.
何考えてんのかわかんねえしさ。ちょっとロボットっぽいよ、なんか。
Oh my god, definitely.
そうだな。
For some reason, Yuji couldn't help but recall that peculiar scent. Faintly sweet and somehow familiar.
おー、りっかー、満足した。うまかった。
In a blink, the Omega Burger had vanished, leaving Makoto's tray littered with balled-up wrappers. His fries and drink were already gone. This wasn't the first time Yuji had seen Makoto suck down food like a human vacuum. I know what else he sucks.
名字は？
Oh, fudge, I missed that. Suck down food like a human vacuum, but never got any easier to believe. What about you? I'm full.
終わったっていうかさ、飲み物だけじゃ終わったも何もねえじゃん。帰ったら飯食うの？
腹が減ったら多分って。
What mean if? With a sigh, Makoto got up to carry his tray into the garbage can, shaking his head in disbelief all the while.
本当に用事ってなんかこう風が吹いたらどっか飛んでっちゃいそうだよな。
どういう表現だよ、それ。
そのまんまだよ。支えてやるやつがいないとふわふわってその辺漂ってさ。食いたくないからいいかな、眠くないからいいかなみたいな。
そうかな。
Did everyone see him that way?
当たってるだろ。だからこうやって飯とか誘ってるわけ。せめて俺といる時くらいなんか食いなよ。
考えておくよ。
もう
Makoto clutched his head in frustration, drawing a tiny smile from Yuji. Beyond the window, shades of scarlet painted the sky as the sun lingered on the horizon.
俺新しいスニーカー欲しいんだよな。買ってこうかな。
Suddenly, Makoto turned away, lost in thought.
それ新品じゃないのか？
Yuji looked down at Makoto's sneakers. They were almost perfectly clean, not a frayed shoelace in
そう
sight.
なんだけどさ、また欲しいの見つけちゃってさ、バイト増やそっかな。
増やせるのか？
You can work more shifts?
いや無理。もういっぱいいっぱい。でも欲しいんだよな。買えるの来月か。よじ、 買ってくんない？
Okay, I fucking hate this part.
無理。
Because, I don't know. I just hate people asking me to buy them stuff because I already got tricked almost too many times to count. I don't need more.
さくたー嘘嘘冗談だって。
Together, Yuji and Makoto left the crowded restaurant, their banter as light as their wallets. That felt too real. I didn't need that. Oh my god.
お疲れ様でした。
After changing into his street clothes, Yuji stepped out of the back room and waved goodbye to the coworker who had taken over the register. Then he walked out of the convenience store and into the stillness of the night. Yuji had started working there part-time as a means to cover his living expenses. Usually he would head over right after school, then work until about 10 o'clock at night. The manager, while a little overbearing at times, had always been considerate of Yuji's condition. No matter how many times Yuji called in sick, he always let it slide. Yuji was quite grateful for this, so he decided to keep working there until he graduated from the academy. With his shift now over for the night, Yuji headed home. Thankfully, his house was only 15 minutes away on foot. In this predominantly residential neighborhood, hardly anyone went out at night, save for the occasional car. Yuji was all alone. The dim, flickering light of the street lamps only served to emphasize the emptiness around him. After so many nights deprived of sleep, Yuji was ready to drop. Yet he knew that the moment he crawled into bed, his eyes would snap wide awake. There was no escape from the misery. How the hell do you survive that? It sounds hard. His shoes tapped softly on the well-worn pavement as he passed slowly beneath the lights. Suddenly, though, through the haze of drowsiness, he sensed a presence behind him. He couldn't hear their footsteps, but they were there. He was certain of it. Deserted though the neighborhood typically was, it wouldn't be the first time he'd run into someone else at night. With that thought bolstering his courage, he looked casually over his shoulder. But no one was there. All that lay behind him was the sprawling darkness of night. He was so sure he'd felt someone's presence. Had it been his imagination? Perhaps the lack of sleep was making him hallucinate. Sometimes, when he could barely keep his eyes open, it was easy to mistake shadows or patterns for monsters. Maybe that was all it had been. But then why did he feel so cold? Had he fallen ill? Was this yet another symptom of his sleep deprivation? His drowsy haze began to clear away. He quickened his pace, eager to get home. Then he sensed the presence again. Not just one, there were several this time. He shot another glance over his shoulder, but once again, no one was there. Even with the street lamps, the road behind him was dark, stretching into the endless abyss of night. Paranoia seized him and he doubled his pace. Behind him, he heard a rustling noise, like dead leaves being crunched underfoot. But there were no trees on this road. And then, he heard something else. Something that made his skin crawl. A wet, wriggly cell. That's freaking me out! Like raw meats being stirred in a pan. It was too much. Yuji burst into a run. It wasn't his imagination. Something was back there, chasing him. The street lamps only made it worse. Under the light, the darkness felt all the more menacing. Whatever it was, he had to escape. If it caught him, he didn't stop running until he was home. The second he made it inside, he shut and locked the door behind him. Gasping for breath, he went to the kitchen sink, poured himself a glass of tap water, and gulped it. Gulp. Oh god, my tongue. Gulped it down. Wiping his mouth with the back of his hand, he returned the glass to the counter. What was that just now? Was he sure that he hadn't imagined it? No, he'd felt it. And that sound, the memory sent a shiver down his spine. Something had been chasing him. He recalled the sound of its wet, raspy breath. It had seemed so real. I was not ready for it to go horror movie. But at the same time, he knew that it couldn't be. His heart still thumping wildly in his ears, Yuji headed for his bedroom. He remembered the ghost story Makoto had recounted earlier that day. He hadn't believed it, of course. He wasn't that gullible, but he'd still felt a little on edge afterwards. Perhaps the story had gotten to him after all. People said that telling ghost stories was a good way to get yourself haunted for real. Surely that wasn't true, right? It was probably the fatigue. Maybe a bath would help clear his mind. With that thought, he grabbed a change of clothes and headed for the bathroom. He was normally more of a shower person, but tonight he was in the mood for a long soak. His sister was the one who had turned him on to the stress-relieving powers of a nice, hot bath. After pausing by the sink to strip down, Yuji turned on the hot water. Soon, steam was rising from the tub. It clung to his bare skin. As he waited for the tub to fill, he glanced at the mirror. Through the steam, he could make out the dark, raised scar on the left side of his chest. It was a vestige of a childhood injury from the same accident that had claimed his parents' lives. Even after all these years, the sight of it still pained him. Turning away from the mirror, he quickly rinsed himself down with the showerhead, then stepped into the tub. Instantly, he felt the warmth of the water seep into his feet. Slowly, he lowered himself into the bath, submerging himself all the way up to his shoulders and letting the warmth envelop his entire body. Pushing his wet hair out of his face, he looked up at the ceiling and watched the steam rise as he reflected on the day's events. What do these two have in common? They both want to bite me. But it wasn't long before his thoughts hit a brick wall. A wall named Tetsuo. Are you seriously dreaming about him right now? Oh god. Okay. That afternoon, Yuji and Tetsuo had been on trash duty together. I was there! Aside from the incident with the to-go meal, everything had gone as smoothly as could expected. But then, as Yuji was tying up the trash bags, something had touched him from behind. He put a hand to his neck. At the time, he dismissed the possibility, but there was no other explanation. Tetsuo had touched him there. But why? Just then, he felt something strange on his neck. Something slimy and slippery! Obviously, he'd expected his body to be wet, but this was different. He pulled his hand away from his neck and looked at his fingers. There's blood! There's blood! His breath caught in his throat. A red, viscous substance clung to his fingertips. Is it blood? Because I don't remember blood being viscous. Okay, it is blood. The memory of that touch flashed to his mind again. Did he feel cold because blood was on his head? Why didn't it drip or something? Why were there no comments? He'd been wondering why Tetsuo would touch him out of the blue like that. Could it be? Had Tetsuo seen the blood? His mind reeled, his pulse quickened. As his breathing grew ragged, a tingling sensation spread through his hands and feet. Perhaps he'd been soaking for too long. Just as he was about to rise, he froze. Oh god, no! I wanted something cute and fluffy, not this! Why? The water was red. Blood red. His body was burning hot. He squeezed his eyes shut, unwilling to believe what he was seeing. A pool of blood, great. Think rationally. You're not dying. You're not dying. Chill. No. Pushing the thought away, he opened his eyes. You cannot panic. I'm starting to think blue is rationality, red is instinct. Am I getting this right, guys? Let me know in the comments. The sea of red had vanished. Everything was back to normal. Had it been just a trick of the light? A glitch in the Matrix? Unable to think straight, Yuji climbed out the tub, but the instant he stepped onto the tile, his vision dimmed and he lost his balance, collapsing against the wall. Shit. Stumbling out of the bathroom on unsteady legs, Yuji grabbed his towel and dried himself off. Why had the bathwater look so red? Was he sure that it hadn't been real? It couldn't have. Timidly, he peered back through the bathroom door. Sure enough, the water was clear. All in all, it had been a long and exceptionally bizarre day. This is more bizarre than Jojo. Clearly, he was really just tired. This is more bizarre than Jojo Siwa. Yuji stepped back inside and pulled the plug to let the water drain. I was not ready for all that horror. I was expecting something cute, not this. Guys, this affirms someone will die. In that Christian school. I'm calling it now. After feeding the fish, he lay down on the bed, his hair still damp. But despite his exhaustion, he didn't quite fall asleep. His brain was still struggling to process everything that had happened. In the end, Yoji wound up staring at the ceiling until the morning light filtered in through the window. Meanwhile, that night, as the rest of the city was heading to bed, Okinaga household was settling in for late dinner.
ご飯まだ
Gohai Mada? Sorry, is it ready yet? An impatient voice called from the dining room.
ご飯遅いよね。ねえ、クリスティン。
I thought this was Okinaga Zenya, but then this one has an eye patch, so I'm guessing this is the father or a brother. Who the hell is this guy? Oh wait, this is Zenya. Zenya sat alone at the large empty table, pouting and stroking the fat green iguana perched on his shoulder.
もう少し待っていてください。
Oh wow, Daddy is hot in an apron and a suit. I was not ready for that. Is he gonna kill me? If you're gonna kill me, I need you to kill me in the best way possible. From the kitchen, Kitani replied cordially, a frying pan in one hand. Zenya lived in a plain white two-story house about 20 minutes from school by car. It was an unpretentious dwelling, modestly decorated with simple, functional furniture. The interior was well maintained, with not a single scratch on the perfectly polished floors. He had Kitani to thank for that.
お待たせしました。
Sorry for the wait. Why are we seeing his point of view now? I wasn't expecting this at all. Moving to the table, Kitani set a plate in front of the younger master. It was piled high with eggplant stir-fry, and Zenya raised his hands jubilantly.
待ったよ。お腹すいた。
どうぞ召し上がれ。
Kitani smiled warmly, placing a bowl of miso soup beside the plate. Soon, the table was filled with several different salads, a batch of white rice, and a few other dishes. That's a lot of food.
いただきます。
Zenya grabbed his chopsticks and started eating. Kitani took off his apron and sat down across from him. Whoa, I really like Kitani. But he didn't serve himself a plate. Instead, as the household's caretaker, he waited quietly for Zenya to eat his fill. This, he had decided, was where he belonged in life, ever since Zenya's father, Okinaga Kunihito, had found Kitani on the streets and brought him into the family. At the time, Kunihito had been the boss of the Okinaga Gumi, a gang associated with the major crime syndicate known as the Seiryu-kai. In its prime, the Okinaga Gumi had boasted nearly 100 members, and Kitani had been its top lieutenant, a position he'd earned in the years since his boss had lifted him from poverty. He owed his boss everything, when Kunihito's deteriorating mental health had forced him into retirement. Kitani had elected to stay by his side. Now, they lived off Kunihito's remaining assets, plus revenue from the property he'd inherited from his uncle. It was a less exciting life, but Kitani didn't care. The gang meant nothing without Kunihito. Kitani's place was here, serving the Okinaga family. Housework was no trouble. He'd been doing it since he was a kid. He'd even learned to enjoy devising new recipes for dinner. Why is he precious? No, I was not ready. He cooks, he kills, he's muscly, he's also... hot?
北に、これうまい。
Zenya speared a slice of fried eggplant on his chopstick and held it up, mouthful of food.
行儀が悪いですよ、坊ちゃん。
Bo-chan.
いいんだよ。別にいいの。はーい、クリスティにはしそ
That look is so good. That look is so good. Can he kill me? The iguana was leaning forward off his shoulder, looking very interested in her owner's food. Zenya picked a shiso leaf out of the salad and held it up to her. Christy opened her mouth wide and snapped the leaf up.
おいしいね。
まったく。
Kitani sighed, smiling in spite of himself. Zenya could be so innocent when he was in a good mood. It warmed his heart to see.
ご飯おかわりはいりますか？
半分だけね。
Kitani had taken Zenya's empty bowl and was about to pop open the rice cooker when all of a sudden...
全。
Huh? Ara? A low, hoarse voice echoed through the dining room. He does look innocent! What the hell? Instantly, Zenya's smile vanished. Kitani should have been used to this by now, but he braced himself anyway. The owner of the voice was standing in the doorway. Okinaga Kunihito, Zenya's father and the man who'd saved Kitani's life. His large frame was well-lined brow gave off a commanding air. He looked every inch the leader he had been, until you saw his eyes. His eyes were bulging with fear, like a mouse hiding from a cat. This was a marked change from the old Kunihito. Those who'd known him back then would scarcely recognize him now. They don't look like fear to me. It looks like he's looking down on me.
帰ってきてからちゃんと祈りは捧げたのか?
Also, he's got a strong nose. I'm guessing he's either mixed or, from another something. Anyway. He spoke in a scolding tone, one hand on the wall, then just as he was about to step into the dining room. Okay, I was not ready for that. What the hell is that face? What is that face? What? Kunihito let out a shriek and shrank down, shielding his head with his arms. The plate Zenya had thrown at the wall fell to the floor in Zenya? Threw something? The younger Okinaga stared at his father for a moment, then stood up from his chair.
ああ、お腹いっぱい。
He stretched, patted Christy, and left the table as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, Kunihito had curled up into a ball. He flinched as Zenya passed, but the boy didn't give him a passing glance.
坊ちゃん!
Kitani called out to him, but he didn't look back. Okay, that was hella serious. Instead, he stopped in the hallway and stared into space like a wolf pricking up its ears.
あ、今、動いた。
Without another word, Zenya headed upstairs. Kitani sighed. This was becoming a regular occurrence. Zenya despised his father and would lash out at him every time they crossed paths. As someone who cared deeply for them both, Kitani found the whole situation frustrating. God, I can only imagine. You're serving the boss and his kid, and then you're having trouble figuring out who to side with. Kunihito was still in the fetal position, trembling like an abused child. He flinched as Kitani laid a hand on his shoulder.
立てますか?
Oh wow. So is this part of the mental health thing? Taking his arm, Kitani helped Kunihito to his feet. The older man continued to glance around restlessly, as if searching for an invisible enemy.
あいつはどうした? ゼンはどこへ行った?
お部屋へ戻られましたよ。
祈りを捧げないからだ。だからあんな。
Although I would probably lash out at a parent who enforces prayer, but at the same time I'm already in that kind of family, so I don't know. I'm a submissive type. Clinging to Kitani's shoulder, Kunihito shot a desperate glare down the hallway. Kitani gently rubbed his back, hoping to calm him down.
後で伝えておきます。お部屋に戻りましょうか。薬も飲まなければ。水を持っていきますから。
祈りよ。さもなくは怒りが。
I feel like he sold his son to something. He sold his son and now he's regretting it, and that's the reason for the degradation of his mental health. Let me know what happened, guys. I don't know what happened. Evidently, the lucid interval was over. Kitani guided his master down the hall, stroking his back all the while.
どうか怒りをお鎮めください。怒りを。
Led by his right-hand man, the once feared gangster devolved into incoherent babbling. His screams echoed impotently off the white walls. That's rough. Well, I think that's all I have for today. It's been another hour, actually. Well, for me anyway. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I still have to record a bunch of other episodes. Sorry that I have to cut this short, but yeah. This is actually pretty interesting. This is getting really, really interesting. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you guys soon. California Macky signing out. Bye for now.